Good morning. Thank you so much for your time. Now, there's a lot of nervousness on the street as far as Indian markets go, understandably, ahead of this mega event. FIs have particularly loved, in fact, the investing community have particularly loved the work done by this current government, even in the second term. How much probability would you assign that, once he comes in place, the reform momentum, which the street was directly observing, will continue in the same breath?
I think it will continue, and of course, much is contingent on how many seats the BJP are able to secure. And my sense is that there are many good pollsters who are on the ground and getting a very fresh read of the votes at the exit stations. And so if there was some disastrous result brewing, I believe those pollsters would have gotten wind of it by now, and they're all in the employ of fund managers, and fund managers would have been selling. So I am not expecting a bad result for the government, and I do expect a continuation of its reform policies.
Interesting. What about the valuation of the market? Do you also believe at the same time that bulk of the good news is now baked in, or do you think there is scope for further expansion?
I think there is scope for further expansion if the earnings grow. And if the economy grows, then the earnings will grow. If the economy grows by, let's say, 6, 7, 8% per year, then I think it's reasonable to assume earnings grow by 12, 13, 14% per year. And if you compound that a couple of years, then actually India is not expensive. If you could look forward 2 years, which I think any investor should do, if we're looking at this sort of mid-teens, double-digit earnings growth in 2 years' time, the market will actually look very cheap relative to its peers.
What was your observation on the quality of earnings so far? And among some of the strategists we speak to, there is increasing sense that this quarter was whatever it was, but the coming 2 quarters, the top line growth may actually come under pressure because the base has expanded. How did you observe the quality of earnings this quarter?
To be honest, I can't answer that. I didn't deep dive into the earnings, so I better not try.
We are also witnessing a lot of macro upgrades coming in. Yesterday, S&P upgraded the rating on India. Q4 GDP is lined up for Friday. How are you observing the economic momentum as far as the Indian economy goes? Do you see it, in this 6 to 7% band? Do you see continuity and momentum? What are your thoughts there?
Yes, I do. I mean, I was there a month ago, and I had an opportunity to visit 4 different places in the country. And, there's nothing like just being out on the street and getting a feel for what's going on. And I was struck by the level of economic activity, but more significantly by the enthusiasm of the young people in particular, the population in general, but the young people toward the economy. And there is a can-do sense, an entrepreneurial culture that I think is very self-fulfilling for economic growth. And so if you combine that with the fact that the last 10 years saw very little investments, there is a deficit in quite a few areas of the economy now. 2 sectors that we like in particular, where there is a deficit, are the power sector and real estate. And so supply needs to catch up and will catch up, and that will be a catalyst for strong earnings and in turn, good share price performance.
Okay, power and real estate, those are the 2 pockets wherein there is a demand-supply mismatch of sorts, and there is road to catch up. But I also wanted your view, Mark, regarding India versus China trade. What's been the recent commentary amongst investors that you have spoken with? Is China cheap and hence an easier option, and on the other hand, India is more expensive?
Well, I think you can look at investing in 2 ways. One is a core strategic way, and that's what you want to own for, let's call it 10 years. And then another kind of investing is tactical investing, and let's call that 1 year. So the core strategic investing, that is where the big money goes. China was considered really the best alternative outside of the United States for core strategic allocation up until around 4 years ago. And then when the country became progressively less business friendly and they adopted the Common Prosperity Economic Program of redistributing wealth from the rich to the poor, that really started the last 4 years of a steep decline in investment and employment in China. And if you combine that with the very poor geopolitics between China and the West and Japan, Korea, etc., then it explains the derating in the market. So it is very cheap. I personally think China is going to be a great market this year. It already is, but I think it will continue to be. But that's a tactical investment. And the bulk of global fund managers don't make tactical investments. They make the kind of core strategic investment I referred to earlier. They're not going to do it in China, but I think they are looking more and more at India as the alternative to fill the China vacuum. They haven't really done it yet, as I'm sure you know. Foreign investors are not big owners of India. They've been selling many years in a row. But I believe that they will turn around and start putting money into it. It fills a very good place where there's a void in their portfolios now, which is an alternative to the United States.
Mark, your quick thoughts on the defense stocks in India. They've had a dream run, and now again everybody is looking up to whether the momentum, the earnings and the order flows. In fact, right after your interacting with you, we have Mr. S.K. Jha Reddy, CMD of Mishra Dhatu, again a defense kind of play. But your view on India defense sector, any thoughts there?
Yes, I think that conceptually it makes excellent sense that India is emerging as a manufacturing power, and that includes in that sector. And that's the kind of place in the mid caps where I believe we'll get the continuation of the outperformance that we've seen, because there is a big demand for defense-related material, unfortunately, in the world today. I don't see that changing, and I see India as a very competitive player on a global scale. So it has the potential to capture a large share of the international market as well.
Okay, point taken. Thanks so much, Mark, for making time and speaking with us. So yes, there is a potential